Good evening. Tonight I'm going to make my favorite fermented vegetable, which is homemade sauerkraut. I've been making it off and on for probably 2 or 3 years. It's a really delicious, tasty recipe, and I get the recipe from the Gut and Psychology Syndrome book written by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. It's got a great recipe in here, and that's what I follow. You can also make kimchi, which is a, I think, Korean form of sauerkraut, and it's actually something I might try sometime down the road, but at this point I haven't made it. This is more of a traditional kind. When I make sauerkraut, I prefer to have more color because they always say color is healthier and has more nutrients, and I just like it because it's prettier too. So I got a nice red cabbage from the Whole Food store. It's organic, and I have some organic carrot. When you make sauerkraut, it's a little bit more complicated and involved than making other fermented vegetables like carrots or beets. When you do it, you have to actually use salt and a lot of elbow grease and pounding to actually pound the juices out of the cabbage. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The main things that you need is you need your vegetables, which I have here, that you're going to want to chop up. You're going to need lots of salt, so I use this pink Himalayan sea salt that I get from the Swanson Health Store, so we're going to use that. And then we need something to put it in, so I usually use something like this. This is an old pressure cooker pot, the stainless steel, so I'm going to use that. You need something to pound the cabbage, to pound out the juices, and so I have that. And then you need a large glass bowl for the fermenting, so we're gonna put the cabbage in this bowl. This is what I always use for making sauerkraut. And then you need something to keep the sauerkraut underneath the water level. Usually I try to get as much liquid out of the cabbage as I can, but a lot of times I'll have to add my own filtered water. You want to make sure you use a good quality filtered water like reverse osmosis, or as I've mentioned before in some of my other videos, I always use Berkey water. And so I'll be putting this right in the bowl to keep it down. And then you'll need a towel because you're going to want to store it in a cool, dark place and cover it with a towel for at least 3 to 4 days. Some people store it up to a week or more, or even longer. I don't like it to go too long because it tends to get moldy if you wait too long, and that makes me nervous. And so I usually do it within 3 to 5 days. The other thing to note is that it can get kind of smelly. So you might notice an odor in whatever area that you are making your sauerkraut. It does have kind of a strong odor in the fermentation process. So the first thing you're going to want to do is start chopping up your cabbage. So I'm going to start doing that. In this recipe, it also calls for some chopped carrots, so I will get that chopped up as well. Okay, it's all done. Look at that gorgeous color. I just love the color of red cabbage. So now we just got to get it in our pan here. All right, so we're going to just put this right in the pan there. All right, so we got all the cabbage and carrot in there. So I have a medium cabbage and 2 medium carrots that I chopped up and put in my bowl here. And now we need a lot of salt because salt is what pulls out the moisture. So I'd say you want about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of salt in there because it takes a lot of salt to get it out and to ferment it. So I would say that's probably good. And so now you want to mix it all up. And that salt will pull all the moisture out of the cabbage. Look at that beautiful cabbage and carrot mixture. It's going to be so delicious. Can't wait to try it. So I get it all nice and mixed up. And now we get the fun part, which is pounding the heck out of it so that we can get the moisture. So you just take your mallet and you start hitting it like this. Punch it over and over again with the mallet until the liquid starts pulling out. Okay, so I've been pounding it for a while. It's getting all nice and wet now and liquidy. You can see all the liquid pulling out. My arm is getting tired. So now I need to transfer this cabbage to our bowl here. All right, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now it's not enough liquid to be able to ferment without rotting or getting moldy, so we need to make sure that there's enough water in there to cover it up. So I put about 4 cups of water in there too, 3 to 4 cups of water, and then that will help in the fermenting process. So there we go. It's all ready to go now. And then all we have to do is put our plate on because we want to make sure it is pushed down. Okay, well, I let the sauerkraut sit longer than my other fermented vegetables, but my sauerkraut is done. So I'm going to take the towel off. I actually put it down in my daughter's room because she's off to college, and I mentioned earlier that the sauerkraut can kind of have a smell. So anyway, I got it done. I'm going to take the plate out here now. You can get a view of what it looks like. Look at that gorgeous purple sauerkraut. Yum. Can't wait to dig in and eat this. Now I like to use an old dill pickle jar because it's nice and big to put my sauerkraut in. So I'm going to get a ladle and scoop this in here. All right, I just finished ladling the rest of the sauerkraut and liquid in there. The liquid is a beautiful purple color. If you can tell, it goes to about right here. And I always have concern that if there's not enough liquid covering the fermented vegetable, that there is a higher chance of it going bad or going moldy because it's the salt in the liquid that preserves it. So I'm just going to add some extra filtered water to the top so that, there you go, just to keep it preserved good. And so that's it. So now I have my sauerkraut. This should last quite a while. And I usually like to just either have it with a salad or a meal on the side dish. I just usually eat a little bit at a time. It can last, for a long time, for several months in the fridge. This time when I made the sauerkraut, I did not let it ferment for very many days. That's just my preference. With sauerkraut, you can usually let it sit out longer than other vegetables without it going bad, but I have set it out for a week or more and had sauerkraut start to mold. And so I just want to be on the air of caution because I am sensitive to mold in food, and I want to just be cautious. Fermenting is already a little bit of risky maneuver for me, and I had to be real careful with my digestive disorder when I eat fermented vegetables. So that's why I tend to not over ferment, but some people can like to let it sit a lot longer than that. So it's whatever your preference is and however you like it, but that's just the way I do it. So this is my favorite fermented vegetable, and I am really looking forward to enjoying some. Well, my sauerkraut is all done, the lid's on, and it's ready to go in the fridge. So I'm going to keep this in the fridge and have some yummy sauerkraut later.
Thank you very much for joining us today. If you liked what you saw today, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and then please be sure to hit the subscribe button below, and then be sure to hit the notification bell so that you can receive notifications on all of our future videos. We are on social media, and you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under the username Joyful Mama. Otherwise, we will also link that in the description below. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.